Well, it was on August 13th that we set off on this BoyleSports Irish Greyhound Derby journey. Here we are, just over 4 weeks later, we're down to the final 6. We had 12 exceptional semi-finalists. 6 had to go home, 6 remain. Kevin, 2 tremendous semi-finalists tonight, 2 brilliant performances by the winners, but also some real good storylines in behind. Firstly, we'll kick off with All About Ted. This was a greyhound we've been speaking of quite a bit, especially over the last couple of weeks. He's improved and improved and improved. Tonight, Peter Cronin had one job: to get him out of boxes, to get him to produce his run. He certainly did that. 29-23, one of the best runs of this entire derby. He was so impressive.
He was, and in the opening round, I think I might have been critical of him on this piece that we do. I really wasn't impressed with him in the first round, and since then he hasn't looked back. He's been superb. He was a fancy enough price for a dog of his ability in the second round, and since the second round he's just taken this derby by storm. He looked pretty much a shoe-in if he started in that race. He started, he was explosive to the corner, he took command at the opening bend, and he never looked back. It was a brilliant run, sub 29:30 run around Shelbourne Park for the 550. You cannot emphasise enough how good it is. I know we've had a couple of them in this derby which may make it look a little bit easier than it is, but it's not, and he is improving all the time. And if you were to look at the derby and look at the dog that's coming forward, he fits the bill big time. He's improving every single week. I'd say Peter couldn't be happier with the way his campaign has gone so far, and he's going to be a massive player, I think, next week. Yeah,
those that were looking at the 2 semi-final draws, he was 8-1 in the outright market. He looked the most likely winner of the opening heat. Many felt that the 6-4, 11-8 was too big. Tonight he goes off 8-11. I'm sure plenty nibbled at 8-1, and they're pretty much in clover right now.
They are. They've definitely got a bit of value, and like, if you won't get a near 8-1 on him here next week, he could even go off second favourite. Like, we know where he's going to be. He's going to be out in 6, 4 insides and a middle. So like, it's a great makeup for a sole white seed. And with that early pace, if he goes up, and you'd imagine Susie on the inside, his run from the third bend home would suggest he might be a little bit stronger than her. So if they went toe to toe into the third bend, Peter could be starting to let a few roars, I'd say.
Yeah, they sure will. All About Ted for Willie Rigney, Richard Brown and Peter Cronin. As we've said, he's been running so well through this derby. Behind him, Sing Along Sally. Well, if All About Ted is progressive through this derby, Sing Along Sally's even more so. This lady was, in season, a matter of weeks before the derby commenced, and here we are. She's now second tonight in the semi-final. She's beaten 4 lengths. She's doing 29.51. It was her fastest run of the derby by, nearly 3 lengths. She can find another length or 2. She's in trap 2 in the final. We know that already. This is a lady that can ping. Tonight she came away better, but she really drove across, Scooby Princess and Monrod Thunder. She made up their mind for them. She made up her own mind. She was getting to that rail, whatever was on her inside, and it was a decisive manoeuvre from her. It was the reason why she's in the final.
Yeah, very much so. And this really was more like the Susie we saw in Limerick. Like, she's run against the boys for a while now for such a young lady, and she's shown that she's able to do that. But for a lady to run against the boys, you need to have attitude, and I know she's not the biggest. She's only just over a smidgen over 60-pound weight, but she showed all of her attitude tonight. She, for me, came away made her best start in the derby, and she just took no prisoners. She cut the snot off the inside too, and away she went up along the fence. She's going to have to do it again in the final. I think Pat, although they'll be delighted to be in the final, I'd say in a month's time, I'd say this bitch could really just take off. I really think she's just coming to the boil. I don't think she's there yet. She's coming forward. It'll be a big week for her. She improved 3 lengths from last week to this week. She'll have to improve another 3 lengths, but she very much could, because she's like a cat. She's had 9 lives in this derby, because in more than one occasion she looked like she should have gone out, and she hasn't, and now she lines up in the final. She's a brilliant bitch, and I know for such a youngster as well. And Gilbert Anderson and Pat have a lot to look forward to this week, and I wouldn't rule them out yet. She might just come on another bit. She'll have to, though.
And a homebred for the Buckley clan. It means so much extra.
Oh, 100%. This one would have been pupped down, reared, whelped, everything below in the kennel, and I'm sure Jack will be looking on. I know he's heavily involved with the breeding aspect, and I see them up with a couple of Droopy Smasher sisters with pups at the moment. So they've gone into the breeding paddocks, and you want to see the returns, and they have one, especially in her. She's excellent.
Yeah, there's a picture online of Emma Buckley giving her a hug after the race, and it really is one of those, like an internet meme. Find someone that looks at Sing Along Sally like Emma Buckley does. Back in third spot, Carrigaline North. Tommy Buggy, this is going to mean the world to him. You know, he's going to be a big price in the final, so he can go have a pressure-free week. He just has to get the dog there in his best nick. If he runs well, he runs well. If he happens to sneak a Derby win, well, wouldn't that be amazing? But for Tommy Buggy, this is the dream, to have a Derby finalist. He's after achieving it. Anything else now is a bonus.
Yeah, and look, I got goosebumps for him. I know Thomas and Rose a long time since I was the youngest memories I would have going to the dog track in Kilkenny. I'm going there, and Thomas and Rose and Larry and Mary would have been going. So this for me has been the story of the Derby, just to see this dog qualify. And I saw over there Thomas, he wouldn't be one for showing emotion, but I'd say he was holding back a little bit there tonight, because he let out thankfully we got to the final, because Catch Me Flying obviously is semi-finalist. Pretty sure one of the Kilgraney dogs, it could have been Master or one of them, semi-finalists as well. I think they've had a couple of semi-finalists, and now this lad making the final, they're in there with a chance, and that's all you can ask for. Ballyann, Sims connections, we would have been saying the same thing. Isn't it great that they just made the final? They went on and won the Shelbourne Ashton. There's been plenty of big price winners in the final. They're there. I hope they enjoyed it. I hope they have a great week, and I really want them to enjoy every second of it, because this dog has gone on from a dog we knew absolutely nothing about. We made a comment on him here in the early rounds where he really caught our eye. He was a real progressive sort, and every single week he just finds a little bit more. For me, he was a sitting duck at the third bend with Scooby and Gore Kelly Nestor coming at him, but he dug deep up the home straight when he had to. So I'm delighted for Connections that they've a representative in the
He didn't do his 3:45 tonight. There's no question about that. He didn't get a flying start. May have taken a little bump off Scooby Princess as she found the traffic, but he dug in, as you say. Gord Kelly Nestor and Scooby Princess were coming hard at him. You know, off the last bend, I think I was nearly guilty of referencing them rather than him, thinking he was going to fold, but he dug in. He was determined to get to the Derby final for Thomas.
He was, look, to be hardy down around that neck of the woods, and he had to be. Like, I'm the same. I said it to Thomas, I thought you were sitting duck at the bottom. I think he admitted it, he thought the same. So yeah, look, a puppy with a real bright future, and I hope that this is only the start of it for him. I hope he goes on to have a fantastic career, and I wish him all the best next week.
Yeah, you said it, still a puppy, you know, in October 19. Well, Gord Kelly Nestor, Monrod Thunder, and of course Scooby Princess, the three of them went out, but they played such a part in this year's Derby. Gord Kelly Nestor, one of the great storylines in the early rounds, beating the likes of Ballymacfairwood and Broadstrand Ryan the night he did, and so impressive that occasion. Scooby Princess, one of the true stars of this year's Derby, and going forward she remains one of the fastest ladies in training, one of the fastest dogs in training in fact. And Monrod Thunder, this was only his 10th start tonight, missed the kick, he did move to the middle. Himself and Scooby Princess were then bumping, and add to that Sing Along Sally cutting their nose off, and it just wasn't meant to be for the trio tonight, but they played their part over the last few weeks.
They have, and I was talking to Andrew last night actually at Kilkenny Dog Track, and he was saying to me that he never felt anything like it, the excitement. He even said to me last night, I asked him, well, have you any butterflies, and he said they've already started. So he just couldn't believe the experience he's had, and I'm sure even though there'll be a bit of disappointment, he'll look back on it for a long time to come. And yeah, Jennifer O'Donnell, the job she's done with Scooby Princess, I can't remember her ever running a bad race. She always wears her heart on her sleeve. It just didn't happen for her tonight with Monrod moving off and Sing Along diving in. She found traffic problems, she was last down the back straight in the semi-final of Derby. As strong and all as she is, you're up against it, and exactly like you said there are three dogs that potentially line up in the constellation next week and all have chances.
Yeah, they sure do. Gord Kelly Nestor with that $2,000, it nearly brings him up to €20,000. Yeah. It's some tank for a dog that, you know, I'm not saying he's limited ability, but before this competition never really did perform at this very high level, but unbelievable achievement to get to that point in his career. Moving on to the second heat, it promised so much. We were expecting fireworks, we did get them. Firstly, wasn't it great to see all dogs getting around? It was a relatively clean race. There was no messing, there was no dogs getting knocked over. There was a couple of hard luck stories, but in reality the three that went round first, second and third, they finished first, second and third. But it was all about Susie Sapphire. This lady is now unbeaten in a Derby. She's won an Oaks, she's won a Puppy Oaks. She's November 19, she's still a puppy for 2 months, Kevin. This is ridiculous. You know, we should be thinking about her for the Juvenile Derby next week. Not potentially starting favourite or joint favourite or second favourite for the Irish Greyhound Derby. But here she is. She's in Trap 1 in the final. It's a remarkable story. The Comerfords are some of the greatest supporters the sport have ever known. Susie Sapphire, for them, it'll mean the world. And of course, Owen McKenna. He's been there, he's won a Derby, but it's been a while. And this means so much to him. You can just sense it from Owen. He's a dry-witted character. Yeah. You know, he won't give you an awful lot, but I'll tell you what, he's given plenty this Derby. This lady means the world to him.
Yeah, very much so. And look, look, we all know what happened final night last year, and it was devastating. It genuinely was. It shook him to his boots. Owen, I'm talking about, froze in the middle of the track with Pastana, and I think you'd want a heart of stone not to be well wishing Owen that he can go on and land the prize here next week. It would mean the world to him, and it might just put some wrongs of last year in his own mind. But yeah, I don't know what to say about her, to be honest. I really don't. You run out of words. She's incredible. She's just unbelievable. That to me tonight was as good a race as I've ever seen held in Shelbourne Park, just for the strength and depth. There's obviously been really good dogs, that are probably better dogs, that have ran in Shelbourne, but I mean, for 6 in the one race, it doesn't come much better than that. And for a November 19 lady to go on and claim the prize, it was incredible. Every week I see her running, every week I'm waiting for her to get picked up, and she just doesn't. She just finds some little bit.
I nearly made a mistake tonight,
yeah.
And Susie Sapphire wins, and then I heard the photo finish and looked at it and went, oh God, that's closer than I remember, you know. But she did hold on, and like that, she just rolls up that home straight. She's getting there, and she's in Trap 1, the Derby final. It was that immediate acceleration, Kevin. Once again, Explosive Boy came away racing. Although she does 3:41, it's hard to believe he did slower than that. But her immediate acceleration is just something to behold. Yeah,
some of the. I'm in agreement with you. I don't know whether I can't see how Explosive Boy was doing a 340 odd section when he done 336 and 333 the last 2 weeks. He seemed to me to wing it out again, so I wouldn't pay a whole lot of attention to that. I'd be more interested in the third bend section, and it's there, 1696 to the third bend. They were flying again. Yeah, look, he absolutely flew the boxes. The race sort of went, I know we were sort of tongue-in-cheek having a preview of it here last week at the end of this, and we sort of said that if Explosive Boy and Susie were level at the line, she would lead him, and I think that's still the same case. I don't think there's a greyhound in Shelbourne Park that, if they're level with Susie at the winning line, can match her to the bend. It's that burst into the corner. She's just unbelievable. She takes lengths out of very good dogs to the corner, and that's where she wins her races, and it'll be the same in the final for me. I know all about Ted is on the outside with Blister and Early. If she's level at the winning line, she will go around the bend in front, in my opinion. And on the bend, we've said it from day one how good of a bend runner she is. That's where she's winning her races. She's going into the bend a length clear, she's coming out of 2-3 clear. That's what she done to Explosive Boy tonight. But he is really staying on, he's really digging in, and it's not often, or not from memory, that I can think of a dog who's been beaten in the last 3 rounds of a derby and will go out, with us anyway, will be lining up favourite. So that's the calibre of dog he is, and don't rule him out just yet. On track,
what'll go off favourite?
On track, I still think Explosive Boy. I know that people will come for Susie because she's been unbeaten, she's a lady, and it's all about Ted. I'm sure like he's the dog that's coming forward, but Explosive Boy's CV is second to none. He's been there, he's been in all the big races. He was unlucky in the Con Kirby. He went and he won the Project Stakes, he won down in Tralee, he's won everywhere he's been, he's won, and here he lines up in the Derby. I still think come the night when the dust settles, people will still latch onto him.
Yeah, Explosive Boy was second. He was really coming back at the lady. You know, this was a greyhound before the Derby. We were, you know, before, let's say, the Race of Champions, we were questioning whether he'd get 550 yards. If I told you, even after the Race of Champions, that, you know, he'd be led in the back straight and still be coming at the line, getting every inch of the 550 yards. He's a remarkable greyhound.
He is. No, he is. He has every attribute. I was one of those that was a little bit sceptical of him over the 550 before Tralee. I thought a dog with his early would be stretched to get the extra 25 yards, but he's loving it, and yeah, I think he's a massive chance. He's our biggest liability in the book, so I am looking to try and find one maybe to just cross the line in front of him, but I still think he's the one to beat. He's running, I know he's getting beaten every night, or not every night, but the last 3 weeks, but he's still running so well in defeat. He hasn't lost much in my book.
Jack's Little Thing ran a remarkable race in third spot because they were at him the whole way around. Ballymac Ariel into the corner, she's leaning on him, she's looking to move off, he cuts her on the bend, takes a bumper to himself, maintains most of his momentum to remain third into the back straight, but Ballymac Fairwood's on his inside. We know exactly how fast he is down the back straight. You know, Price's Jet and Ballymac Ariel were in behind, but he just kept on digging, and some of the cheers I heard out there weren't just for Susie Sapphire and Explosive Boy. I'm almost certain that there was a cheer at the third bend as Jack's Little Thing cut them off from the Pillar Syndicate, and it wouldn't surprise me or you. Very infectious, enthusiastic men that have given a lot to the sport over the years. Great to see them with a Derby finalist. Of course, Graham Holland has a chance to make it 3 in a row.
Yeah, it's some achievement. It's an unbelievable achievement, and they'll be doing everything they can. This lad is the fly in the ointment for everybody. This lad has an X Factor run in him. He's done it.
He still has that 3:35 in him. He's got a good draw.
Yeah, on his night, I think he could put together probably as good a run as any, probably the fastest run of any dog in the final. I think if he'd done everything right, we've seen him do it 29.10, we've seen him do 29.23. He's got that X factor in him. We've also seen him do the 29.70s, and we saw him have to dig in and battle tonight when he didn't. He's not the most consistent trapper. It's what I feared for the dog at the very start of the Derby when he was getting shorter and we were pricing it up. It was the one thing that I always had in the back of my mind, that on a night he's capable of just not doing it perfectly at the boxes. He didn't get it right tonight perfectly at the boxes. I know it was a race with blistering early pace, and that's not a bad thing, but it was a massive thing for that dog to qualify tonight. It was huge for him to qualify because there was guaranteed 1 or 2 big uns going out tonight. That's what's happened. Ariel unfortunately had to go out. Ballymac Fairwood's unfortunately gone out. Scooby's unfortunately gone out. There's some big guns gone out. It's now onto one race and on one night, and everybody knows on
clean slate. Doesn't matter what they've done to this
exactly
point.
And on any given night he's capable of 3:34, 29.10. So every dog in the race will be looking at him.
There are 6 sets of connections that would take 3:34, 29.10. They take your hand, they take your wristwatch, they take your arm, everything.
All my clothes, but no, he is the one. I know we've touched on the likes of Carrigain North and even Susie. Like, even though she keeps winning, she's around the 29.30 mark. That seems to be her best. He has a 29.10 run in him. That's the point that I'm making. He could line up 7-2, 4-1, 9-2 on the night, just given tonight's performance. But don't rule him out. And if I had a dog in the final, he is the one that I'd be keeping an eye on at the box as well, because he's capable of that flash start, and when he does things right, he's exceptional. So they have a big chance in it. Every dog has a good chance in it, and it's going to be some race.
It wasn't Liam Dowling's night.
No.
You know, it's not too often we say that in Shelbourne Park, but just it wasn't tonight. Ballymac Fairwood ended up finishing 4th, but the real story was Ballymac Ariel back in 5th. She just missed that half length of traps, and it cost her, because she's that half length behind Jack's Little Thing rather than being upsides or just in front of him. He cuts her off in the corner. She's trying to drift off. That's it. Game over, ball burst. She actually did show loads of pace in defeat, but it wasn't meant to be for this superstar lady. I'm sure we'll see plenty of her again in the future. I hope we do. She was sensational through this Derby. It's such a shame she's not in the Derby decider, but you can't really take anything out of Derby decider to replace her with, because they all deserve their spot for what they did and what they achieved this evening. And Ballymac Ariel, what a star she's been. And Ballymac Fairwood, he's getting there with each and every run. Just wasn't meant to be tonight, but we still know he's so talented. He's had 15 starts and out in 6. Your own Price's Jet, he's been there, worn the t-shirt. He is a classic winner. I think you knew coming into this week, he's had his little niggles over the last couple of weeks that he was going to need luck. Didn't happen.
No, and I suppose taking off my black and amber Hennessy hat and putting on the BoyleSports hat, the one shame, and I think that's the right word to use, is that Ariel's not in the final. I think every Greyhound enthusiast wanted her to be in the final. She's been the story of the Derby so far. At an interview during the week, and I was asked that question, who has been the eye catcher or the storyline in the Derby, and for me it was her, hands down. Well, maybe along with Susie, but I really wanted her to do well, and Liam and Shane, like I know the work they've put in, and they've had such a great year. It would have been brilliant for them to cap it off with her making the final. I know they'd be disappointed with Fairwood going out, but I think they'll be more disappointed with Ariel going out, because she's shone so brightly through this Derby. There's been a cloud over. She's bounced back from it. It just didn't happen for her tonight. It was similar here in the Champion Puppy, where she just missed it at the start, and it was in a race of that calibre, you couldn't miss an inch, and unfortunately she gave them a length in the box, and she just couldn't. She's
probably only 6 inches from being up far enough inside Jack's Little Thing to go around third, but that's Greyhound races.
That is.
It's all about small little margins.
It is.
Ballymac Fairwood and Price's Jet.
Yeah, Ballymac Fairwood, you're spot on. He's coming every week. He's getting back to form. I'm sure they'll be disappointed to go out tonight, but when the dust settles and they look back, I'm sure they'll be delighted with how he's progressed through the Derby. He's a big year ahead of him next year. Price's Jet, yeah, look, it was like he was running in quicksand on the way to the corner. He trapped out really well, but all that early pace in his inside just ran by him. I thought he was stuck for a second, but it was just the calibre of greyhounds he was against. He was able to do that to others in the 750. He probably wants further. but he's been a brilliant greyhound, and we've had some great fun with him all year. And look, I'm sure there'll be another competition or two maybe before the year is out. But yeah, it was fantastic to make the semi-final of the Derby, and it was a delight for Brian and Kathleen Murphy that they got good sport too.
We're not going to take all that in-depth look at the final. We'll be
That's
doing that
you
on
want
Tuesday.
To sit in the fence and not pick one.
Well, no, we'll be doing Talking Dogs on Monday, but we'll be doing it on Tuesday after the draw and whatnot, or after the Derby lunch. The draw, Susie's obviously in 1, Sing Along Sally's in 2, Carrigaline North in 3, Explosive Boy 4, Jack's Little Thing is in 5, and All About Ted in Trap 6. Firstly, if you were going to hand-pick the draw, you'd probably pick something along those lines. You know, I know Susie Sapphire's on the inside of Sing Along Sally, but given her trapping ability, I think Owen would have taken that. Sing Along Sally's close to the fence. She's not going to be cutting across the middle runners. So, by all accounts, the draw has worked out pretty perfect.
It has. It really has. I would be a little bit concerned about Sally being just on the outside of Susie Sapphire, just because she dived so violently in tonight. I think that will be in the connection's minds. Susie probably might take a step to the left a little bit, even out of 1 as well, just to hug that rail, which would help her if she did it. She will have to out-trap Sing Along Sally, but she's more than capable of doing that, and if she does it, well, it's going to be game on, because for me, if she starts, I think she leads again. She's proven it. Explosive Boy, I think, has got an absolute brilliant draw. I know he's an inside seed, and people might say, well, there's 4 inside seeds and he's got 4. How is that? I think that's the best place for him to be. I think he should lead up Carrigaline North. Jack's Little Thing, you would imagine, will steer clear out of the boxes at least and on the run to the corner. Like, Explosive Boy should have plenty of room going to the bend, and I can't really see how he doesn't turn maybe second or third. I still think he's a worthy favourite at 2-1 with us. We're 3-1 Susie, 3-1 All About Ted, Jack's Little Thing 7-2, Sing Along Sally 10, Carrigaline North 20. There's value there to be had. I still think Explosive Boy is a worthy favourite. Would I back him at it? I might go for looking for a bit more value. By
the time people are watching this on Sunday evening or Monday morning, I think those prices might be changed, and
Probably.
I think by the time we're talking again on Tuesday, I think they'll be very much changed. I think it's an absolutely intriguing final. I think if Susie Sapphire avoids Sing Along Sally, I think this is a derby that'll be won by a head or a neck or a half length. I think it's going to be very tight at the finish, because if she gets loose, Explosive Boy's going to get loose, or Jack's Little Thing is going to get loose, All About Ted's going to get loose, and there really isn't all that much between them all. I think we're set for an unbelievable final. I can't wait.
The more I'm looking at it, the more I'm getting confused, and that's a good thing. You know, it really is. Like, I was pretty sure after I saw the draw initially, I thought, oh, Explosive Boy's got the draw. He wants to draw. Susie might be under pressure with Sing Along Sally directly outside. But literally, the more I'm looking at this race now, the more confused I'm getting by it. And look, we've all week to get stuck into it.
No, we don't. We'll be talking on Tuesday, Talking Dogs on Tuesday this week. Anyway, thanks, Kevin, for all your help during the Derby. That's it. We now know our 6 Derby finalists. The BoyleSports Irish Greyhound Derby will come to an unbelievable conclusion here at Shelbourne Park on Saturday, the 18th of September, an occasion not to be missed. We'll be talking more about the Derby on Tuesday, so join us then. We'll both give our selections for this year's Derby.